Courageous by the looks in the end.
Well, it is. I mean, it's always difficult when you're playing Sydney and then the conditions prevail like they did throughout the course of the game. And, they were sort of getting back into the game in that last quarter there, but we held sway, and I think this is not an easy assignment, and to win away and against a side that's in and around where we're at, it's pleasing, but we understand that you can't get carried away with the situation.
Were you hanging on a little bit at the end? There seemed to be a fair few sore boys. You did the rotations and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's indicative of playing some guys that, in taking a risk in selection, that some of them would have in need of a hit out, and I'm talking about McPhee and sort of Barlow and these sort of guys. So, I thought we did it quite well.
What is your injury count out of that?
Roger would be the major concern. He got a direct knock to his leg, so we have to assess that situation tomorrow and get him scanned. But apart from that, we subbed Michael Johnson. He got a knee to his calf, so I would envisage that he would be okay. And Griffin's just I think it's when you play Mumford, you finish out quite sore.
Is it the hip with Griffin?
Yeah.
So what was your bench situation at the end? How many could you rotate at the end?
No, we still had. Roger came off, I reckon, with about 5 minutes to go, but we still had, 3 up until that stage. Yeah.
Ibbotson and Grover, and you had a few coming off that looked a bit sore at times, even Nat at one stage there too.
Well, I mean, it's a hard, tough game. It was warrior-like, and contested, tackling, pressure, all of those elements, and your blokes are going to be sore. Now it's up to us and how we pull up and how we make sure that we're ready for next week.
So you have 7 days until next week, but presumably it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of you're going to have to concentrate really hard on the recovery ahead of the derby game.
You find most of the week now you're recovering from games, particularly at this end of the season, so I don't think we're any different to any other team, but just the conditions when the ball's on the ground a lot more and bodies are colliding a lot more, that we'll have a light week, I'd say.
Who were the folks you were most impressed with in the efforts there?
Yeah, I mean, Ballantyne's an interesting guy, and he always sort of in and around those areas, and he brings people to the game for different reasons. Now, I more like the way that everyone approached it. Individually today, it was, we had to dare to win, which we did. We put it on them early. When you play the Swans, you've got to make sure that they just don't play their way. So if you can change their mindset on the scoreboard, then all of a sudden they have to hurry up things a little bit more than they'd like. And I thought we structured up really well. I think, the interesting stat that we had a look at with the Swans is whenever you play them, they sort of have 20% what we call dead time, which is stoppage after stoppage in their game. So that's why it's always a low disposal, and it can be a low scoring game when you play them.
Well, you boys wouldn't have enjoyed losing the derby last time, Mark. Do you think they'll come out with a fair focus next week?
Well,
lost one for a while.
The Eagles are a game ahead of us. They've been spoken up a lot, and we understand exactly where this game sits. So it's probably the ideal build-up, really, isn't it?
Can you really build some momentum off it, do you think, in this back half of the season after this good win today?
I mean, 7 games to go. They're obviously, in and around the top 4. We play all these sides anyhow. I thought it was really pleasing from our point of view that we beat a side that was above us, even though they played one more game. I think, interesting to see where Sandilands is at. Nick Subin had quite a good game, and Crowley didn't play today, so we've got some backup there.
So what chance, Sandy?
I'm only speculating here, but probably 50-50.
So what's it say about the maturing nature of your group that you can get Sydney at the SCG 2 years running?
Now, that's pleasing, and I guess when you have a break like we had last week and get a lot of time to plan and study, and we did that. Research was thorough, but it's how your players implement that on the back of all of it. And I thought we were a ruthless side today. They're always going to come at you, and when you're on this biggest campaign travelling-wise, at some stage the opposition are going to have a look.
Your matchups were close to perfect today, 2 or 3. You would have been pleased with some of the roles that you gave some of those less sort of lower lights, I suppose, you call it.
It's still Goods and McVeigh and McGlynn and all these guys. They still keep going, and it's a credit to the way they prepare. Speaking to a couple of our boys, they just said they just keep going and they don't get deterred by anything, and they always have a belief that they can win.
A lot of teams have been beaten after a bye this season. Do you guys have to do anything different, or did you look at what had happened in the past with teams?
We trained really hard. We gave the players 3 days off after the Gold Coast game, and then we trained really hard from Thursday to Wednesday, and then we've lightened off since then. But a lot of it was based around, it was pleasing that we could do a lot of physical contact in preparation for this game, knowing that we had to bye.
Because was there a feeling that teams just drop off a little bit during the bye week?
Not now. I think that you're seeing it's happening the other way now. You're seeing a lot of teams now starting to win after the bye because the season is taking its toll.
How do you count it? 20% of dead air in a game?
Well, you know what you're going to confront, so you've got to make sure that your players are structured well in front of the ball and behind the ball. If that's how it's to be, a lot of stoppages, a lot of moving the ball along the line. Well, if you're positioned right and you're well organised, then you can counter-punch.
That time-on period, so quite dramatic in the third quarter, that Valentine goal. I mean, did your players get in their heads a little bit in that period?
I couldn't tell you without being out there, but I hope they did.
The substitute, you seem like you conferred over that for quite a while too. Was it a tough decision to make? Was it either going to be Griffin or Johnson?
It was, yeah. They were both sore, and we had a discussion with the doctors at three-quarter time. In fact, we were going to use Barlow halfway through the third quarter, but we held back because the message had come up that we have to make a decision on one of those guys, and in the end it was Michael Johnson. And so I'm glad we didn't use it earlier, otherwise we would have been too short on the bench in the last quarter.
Were you surprised at all with that Valentine goal where they got the kick straight after the...
I didn't see what happened, but can you tell me?
He was grabbing Heath's jumper.
Was he? He grabbed Heath's Grundy?
No. Heath Grundy was grabbing his jumper while he was trying to throw a few.
Oh, was he? Okay, right. Haymakers. Maybe we do. No, look, banter, I think bit of character, bit of push and shove. You know, the game's not that sanitised. We like to go and see that, and I think it got the crowd involved.
Do you think he provides a different sort of
X
factor in life?
He does. You tell me what sort of cartoon character he reminds you of.
Tasmanian Devil.
He does, yeah, he does.
I can't ask you a quick on Nick Lowerty. He's
terrific.
He was fantastic. I thought it was the best game for your club.
Well done to our recruiting guys, because he's been a revelation. It's his second chance, and physically he's as hard as anyone in our team.
Plays like a second chance, doesn't he?
Well, he does, and I think it's a good lesson for everyone in the game. He's just been able to power along, and whether it's midfield or back line, and then he kicks the goal when you need it to on top of that. So, and he's very good above his head. So he's been, in fact, he's got a lot of good leadership about him too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.